before I go ahead and get started with today's announcements. Then we're going to get into today's show. Welcome everyone on TikTok. If you could start tapping that screen, that would be awesome. Also, if you guys are on Instagram or TikTok and you have any trouble at all with your connection, or if TikTok shuts me down, as they always do, TikTok hates me, you could switch over here to YouTube at Ask Ivy. All right. All right. Very good. Looks like we have Facebook and YouTube working. You got Jesus cleaning his beans behind me there. A little artwork for you guys. So welcome everyone. This is my Dear Ivy show. This is a play off of Dear Abby, the famous columnist who gave advice. This was a hit column for a really long time. I remember reading it as a kid, you know, back in the 80s, these very like adult questions. I'm fighting with my neighbor. I'm fighting with my in-laws. You know, what do I do about this thing? My husband was hiding money, you know, this drama, that drama. I thought it was really spicy. And I really loved the way Dear Abby would respond to these people. And I thought, my God, what a fun job. So this column is still around. I think it's been handed over to someone else, but so that's what this is. You know, my whole life, I thought it would be fun to do this. And I want to say this is our third episode of it. So this is a new show. It is 100% free. Feel free to leave donations if you choose. But you guys could start dropping your questions now in the comment section, wherever you're tuning in. And we have a brand new producer here as well. So Tristan, our new producer in training, he's being shadowed tonight by Jill, our usual producer. So we're going to be patient with Tristan. We're going to be super clear on our questions so he doesn't have to jump around too much. Remember, this is not my Ask Ivy show. This is not my psychic mediumship show. So we're not taking money. We're not asking psychic mediumship questions. I'm not making predictions. This is straight up advice. If you want my advice on any question under the sun, anything goes, you're going to go ahead and post that now. Tristan will be grabbing them and then posting them up here on YouTube, so you can see them on the screen on YouTube. All right, but you guys will hear me call out your name and your question, and we'll get to as many as we can. A couple quick announcements, some upcoming events and things. Let's see. Tristan is, oh, actually, I wanted to say thank you to my YouTube members before I do that. I appreciate your continued support. And if you want to become a YouTube member, you can go on to YouTube at Ask Ivy and hit the join button to see the different membership options and tiers. So thank you to Edgar, Yolanda, Deanna Altieri, Masubi, Jill Marie, Jan Phillips, Vanessa, Chicken Mama, Cody, Maraid, Sharp H, Jennifer Cole, Me Love 716, Robin Hartling, Andrea M, Tristan Marion, Audra, Mary Sykes, Tiffany Smith Villarreal. I think this is Aria Johnson. Oh, Angie Johnson and Bonnie S. A perk of being a member also is during any of my live shows, if you send in a question, you get moved to the front of the line automatically. All right, so what do we have coming up? Tristan, if you want to pop up a couple announcements while we let people drop their questions. Also, if everyone could at this time, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Angie. Okay. Tristan, you want to pop up? What is my first announcement? So we have some events coming up, and for everything I'm about to mention, so I don't sound like a broken record, you guys can go to IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. Even if you cannot buy the actual ticket to that event, because I'm not hosting it, I'm simply working with them, it'll be up there on my website. So you can go and you have a direct link to their website to get the tickets. Okay, so everything you need to know is on my website, IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. So here's what we have going on. I will be at Foliday from 4 to 8 p.m. This is Friday, the 4th. And this is going to be at the Richardson Hotel, which is the old psych ward, which I've been dying to get into. That huge psych ward, that historical building in Buffalo, New York. I believe it's on Forest Ave. So the Richardson Olmsted, I believe they're calling it, hotel. So we are going to be out there for this enormous festival put on by Buffalo Collective. And I'm going to be there on the 4th. Pre-booking is now open on my website. You can try your hand at a walk-in. Now the other days, because it also runs on the 5th, the 19th, and the 18th. On the other days, my readers from the Ivy League Psychic Academy will be there offering tarot and psychic mediumship. So check that out. The next event I have coming up is the following day. This is going to be on Saturday, this upcoming weekend. This is going to be at Oakwood Cemetery. So this is quite possibly my favorite event. Oakwood Cemetery does a fundraiser. There we go. It's called Spirits with the Spirits. And it's a old historical cemetery, and so it often needs a lot of work. So you guys are going to have live music, sort of orchestra type music. You have a dinner served. There are trolleys going through the cemetery, these sort of haunted tours, and a bunch of other things. I don't get to see everything because I'm working, but I'll be doing a 1-hour gallery at the front of the mausoleum, the huge mausoleum at the back. So that's delivering out messages to the audience. And then I go inside the mausoleum by candlelight under these beautiful stained glass windows, and I give you a 10-minute private read. Private reads are booking up quickly, so you're going to want to go onto my website for that, or you can try your hand at a walk-in. You will need tickets to this event for sure. So again, you'll be going through Oakwood for that, but that's up on my website. All right, we also have coming up, I'm doing a ghost hunt here at my 1882 Victorian funeral home. You guys have been asking the past couple of years since I moved in, you know, when are you going to do a tour? When are you going to be with us and show us all the hot spots? And this is the first time I'm doing that. So I'm going to take you through all 4 floors. I'm going to show you the hot spots. You're going to bring your own equipment. We only have a couple tickets left for this. So you're going to want to get your tickets now. And that is running October 26th. From 8 to 11 p.m. All right, we have another, what else is coming up? Psychic mediumship experience. Okay, so I work with Graycliff. Frank Lloyd Wright's amazing architectural property on the beach in Derby, New York. If you're into architecture, if you're into history, if you're into Frank Lloyd Wright, my God, this is an amazing property. And, you know, it has so much activity because of the storyline that went on there. At one point, you know, monks were living there, and it was an all boys school, and they were taking them from Germany. There was, I mean, there's so much history after the original family was there. It's very active, and you know, I've been dying to tell the spiritual aspect, the paranormal stories behind it, and I got into start doing that a couple years ago. So we're going to be out there again. So this is a psychic mediumship experience where I give you all the hot spots out at the front. And then now they're actually letting you go through the property self-guided. That is unheard of. And then I'm doing private readings in the barn after. So check it out. I kind of want to start getting into questions, but let's see. What else do we have going on? Okay. Margin Manor Winery. We have a psychic fair, an Ivy League psychic fair going on there October 13th. I just found out I'm fully booked, but we still have Jill and Jan offering tarot and psychic mediumship. You can book with them. Go to the hauntingly beautiful Margin Manor Winery in Appleton, New York. You can do wine tasting. I think she has finger foods. You know, there's a bunch of shopping that you could do there as well. And we'll be putting on a psychic fair. So come check it out. You can book with your reader in advance if you choose to do so, also on my website. What else do we have going on, Tristan? Just a reminder, I see some questions coming in and they look very much like psychic mediumship. Tristan is training tonight. He is a producer in training, so don't do that to him. Like I keep saying, these are not psychic mediumship questions. I'm not giving readings tonight. This is simply advice. If you want my advice of any kind, okay, go ahead and post it that way. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. I do just want to say also, in case I forget to mention it at the end of the show, we have a church service for Roots Revival Interfaith coming up. I want to say the 27th, I believe. And it's going to be focused on grieving the living. So I've been talking a bit on my different social media accounts about how difficult and taboo it is to go through the grieving process, which seems never ending when you're grieving someone who's actually still alive. Okay. And it resonated with so many people. I feel like it's time to do a church service on it. So hopefully you guys will tune in for that. And again, I believe it's Sunday, October 27th at 9 p.m. here on all the platforms. So I will see you there for that in case I forget to mention it. Okay, let's go ahead and get into your questions. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Airwalk, and this is my Dear Ivy Show, where I, for free, give you whatever advice I may have for you on any given topic. This is a play off of Dear Abby. Please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment of any kind, tap that screen on TikTok. It does help me out in the algorithm. Donations are appreciated, but again, not required by any means, and anything goes. I'm going to get to as many of these as I can. So the first question we have coming in here is from Sapphire Ons. I haven't been doing my readings for my business in a while to focus on my day job. I'm worried if it may be too late for me to start up again. Okay, this is from a cliche. No cliche, it's never too late to start up. And one of the things you need to realize is that your intuition was always there with you and you've never been able to hide from it, correct? You had it as a kid, you had it in your teenage years, you have it in your 20s, it never goes away. This sort of pressure that we put upon ourselves once we've trained in it is to keep it going so that we don't kind of forget what we learned. You do this with everything in life, though. We do this with school. We do this with college. We do this with the training at a new job. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves because it's about achieving. That's a capitalistic structure and programming that you may want to abandon in this case, because the truth of the matter is your ability to connect with spirit, your psychic ability and your empathic ability is eternal. It is part of you. It's not going anywhere. What I would recommend, though, is that you create some type of a schedule where you are deliberately going and giving readings on a regular basis so that you can put your mind at ease and come from less of a place of ego, which is fear, manipulation, and control, and more of a place of faith and positivity. And sometimes you just need that reassurance that it's still there. So scheduling readings, even if it's one day a week for 1 hour, is something simple that you can just pop onto your social media and go live or take questions from people and answer them. I mean, people will flood you with, if they can get a free reading even, you don't have to charge for it. I mean, you just have to show up for this. It's good for you to do regularly because it does require a certain amount of skill, professionalism, a polished way of communicating these cryptic messages to your client. And if you aren't practicing, it can very much feel like, if I don't use it, I'm going to lose it. It's not true, but your skill set in it can deteriorate a bit. Okay. So again, why don't you take the pressure off by just having something in your schedule and making it like a spiritual hygiene part of your routine? Okay. And that's good for everybody. Anyone else tuning in, you have this? Do you feel like you're panicked because you stopped doing tarot, or you stopped doing Reiki, or you stopped doing psychic mediumship readings, or you feel like at some point you fell out of alignment with your spirituality, which is impossible. That cannot happen. It's an impossibility. But you feel a divide and now you don't know if you can kind of get back there, just know that isn't true. Okay. Dive in, schedule it in, give it priority. And I would say the easiest thing people can do is to spend time with your guides every morning, with your morning cup of coffee or your morning tea, calling your guides, your ancestors, sit there for 10 minutes with them, and you're automatically going to feel very connected. All right, we're going to move on to another one. Thank you, Cliche. That's a great question. This is from a Jerry Consine. Will I get a job with the 916th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron this year? Well, we're not doing psychic mediumship questions, so I don't know how that got in there. But you could book a reading with me anytime. If you want to reword that so that it's just asking me my advice, you can do that and we'll take it. Joanne Sarama Gray says, Dear Ivy, I love that. Thank you, Joanne. How fun. Dear Ivy, my 24-year-old has been dating a guy for about 4 to 5 months. Okay. And they're really serious. We love him and his family. Her. My concern is that it's too soon after a horrible relationship with my granddaughter's dad. They are thinking of a possible marriage. I just want her to stand on her own 2 feet and support herself. She gets upset with me and says, jump off or come for the ride. You better listen to her. That is none of your business. Not anything that you said there is any of your business. So you don't want to turn into one of those people that's always like booking readings and stuff like that. And you're overreaching, you're asking about other people, you know, and then you say, well, that's just how I am. I love them. I'm a lover. You know, I'm a warrior. I'm a mother. I'm a matriarch. No, you're being nosy. And the bottom line is we can want what's best for her. She's old. 24 is old. You know, when your kids, your grandkids, whatever, people you watch, your nieces, your nephews, when they reach, I would say even 12, 13 years old, you have to start pulling back on your opinions, sometimes even to an extreme, or that relationship starts to quickly deteriorate. And then when they hit 16, 17 years old, they're getting ready to, you know, really like leave home, fly the nest. I mean, they're basically grown. You know, in the olden days, they would be out getting married and owning property and having kids. You know, it's ridiculous to think of, but that is, you know, look at all the Republican politicians who are trying to roll back child marriage laws, you know, where we have them, and we don't even have them in every state. We don't even have protection. So that is grown. A lot of people consider it grown still. Okay. Now, what that means is that that energy is still very much out there, being pushed, accepted to a degree. And unfortunately, the young person, whether they're right or wrong, they are going to adopt that. And you can become the enemy very quickly at that age. Then we get beyond that and you are way out of bounds. Okay. Anything beyond 16 to 18, you're way out of bounds. She's 24, right? Yeah, you're forget it. Okay. It is best for you, if you want to stay in her life and have her ever come to you for any advice or see you as a supportive person in her life, it's best for you to not say anything else about how she needs to stand on her own feet. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree that this is a mistake. That's not the point. You're going to have to learn that this is a bigger karmic lesson for you about you. This is you battling your own ego, which is fear, manipulation, and control. This is about you learning boundaries officially and when to let go. And it's not just going to be enough for you to not say anything, you know, or choke yourself up or keep your mouth shut. It's going to be about you not thinking about it all the time, ruminating over it, allowing yourself to worry about it, talking to other people about it, having nightmares, letting it keep you up at night. The universe is watching to see if you are actually going to walk out a boundary in your life. So that's stop. She is not an extension of you, your kids, grandkids, your spouse, right? Your family. No one is an extension of you. So stay in your lane. Now, I think what can happen here is that if you set a great example for her, that you are maturing, you're leveling up, you're showing her respect. If you can show that type of growth and development, I think in time, she's going to come to you as this falls apart, and in a million other instances throughout her 30s, you know, and even early 40s, where she hits difficult spots and she needs some wisdom. She will come to you, but if you don't do this, she will never come to you, ever. You'll get put in a category of almost like silly people who don't know better. And it's going to be unfortunate, even if you guys remain amicable. Okay. So let it go. Let her fall on her face. She's way too old anyways. It's okay. And everybody does. You guys are very similar too. You would have fought for this. Okay, let's move on to another question. Again, welcome everyone. If you're tuning in late, this is my Dear Ivy show where I'm giving free advice on any topic under the sun. It's a play off of Dear Abby. These are not psychic mediumship questions, but if you do need to book a psychic mediumship reading with me, you can go onto my website, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. All right, this is from, oops. I think Tristan just popped onto the screen a little bit. Okay, we're going for a little bit of a ride tonight. Again, if you're tuning in late, we have a new producer in training here tonight. Okay, so Anna Marie from Instagram says, I'm a single mother and I really want to find love, but I'm having a hard time meeting new people, let alone someone I'm attracted to, let alone connect with. Do you have any advice on overcoming this? Well, I don't really recommend that when you have kids and you're attracted, you're a female and you're attracted to males, especially in American society, I don't recommend that you invest too much time in that, because the majority of males are still so heavily enveloped in the patriarchy that it's going to be nothing but toxic for you and your child. So when you feel a resistance to it, even the ick factor, like I can't find anyone I'm attracted to, there's a reason for that. You shouldn't be, because it isn't good for you. It has to be in karmic alignment and high vibrational in order for you to actually open yourself up to wanting it. The likelihood of that happening for most heterosexual women is like winning the lottery this day and age. We don't have a generation of men yet who have abandon the patriarchy. Every single one of them living today is still being brought up in the patriarchy. So they don't see you as a person. They see you as an object. They see you as someone who can maybe mother them or cater to them or build them up. And these things are very cleverly hidden. And they may present themselves exactly as you want your dream man to be. And then once you're in the relationship, you've committed to it, or you've moved them in, or heaven forbid, you've gotten married, you have a child with them, then typically you see the real them. And it can cost you everything. So I would not be struggling with yourself too much to learn how to get past something that is entirely healthy. It's intuitive, and it's a form of self-protection, not only over yourself, your money, your resources, and your child, but your entire future. I wouldn't push it if I were you. Now, if someone shows up and say you're out there dating, okay, and like, you know, you come across someone who you really feel genuine attraction to, and they are following up with you, they're showing consistency, they're asking a lot of questions about you. You did not tell them what you're looking for, okay? So when a man says to you, well, what are you looking for? I'll know it when I see it, brother. I don't know. You're never getting that out of me, because then he'll just pretend to be that thing, okay, until you fall for it completely. So as long as you're talking to someone who has no idea what it is that you're looking for, he's actually filling that role naturally, right? Organically, he is that person. He's proving it. And you have been with this person for, I would say, anywhere from 1.5 years to 3 years. And they're continuously getting better. They deal with their own issues. You know, should he be going through something? Maybe he goes to therapy, or he's gone to therapy for his problems. You know, he's really there for you and has maybe met your child at that point at 1.5 years to 3 years, you know, and, you know, that's working out great. And it's going to help improve your life significantly. And he is actively deconstructing from the patriarchy. And the two of you, when you come together, you're actively deconstructing together. Then I would say at the 3-year mark, you could consider something, you know, more serious. Before that, nope, not in 1,000,000 years. Absolutely not. So you're on the right track. You know, have resistance. Don't try to push past your resistance. Simply gain skills to know that if you meet someone who does seem to be of value, you know exactly how to play that to protect yourself. Develop your confidence in yourself, not dating men. Okay. We're going to move on to another one. This is from Manny. Manny says, hi, Ivy. Any advice on how I can help my wife and sister have a better relationship? Well, I think we're back to another similar answer that I gave earlier. That's not your job. That's not your business. That's not your role. The best thing that you can do, and I'm having images of Gypsy Rose. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Who isn't familiar with this? Gypsy Rose Blanchard, okay? This is what I'm seeing in my head here. Who got out of prison for like murdering her mother, and now she's sort of acclimating to society and things. Her mother put her through medical tests and Munchausen by proxy syndrome. Anyways, long story short, one of the things I find fascinating about watching the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story play out now that she's out of prison, because she's so young and she never had a real life until now. So she's in her 30s and she's basically like maybe like an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old or sometimes like a 16-year-old. Her father is with her now. Her stepmother is with her now. Her half sister is with her now. She's residing with them. And one of the things I've noticed about that family dynamic is that the dad always seems to be like, I'm out of this. I'm out of this. And he gets a lot of slack for that. He gets a lot of hate all over social media for being that way. But sometimes I watch him and I think he's doing it right. He, unlike the stepmother, is not all up in her business. He's not trying to manipulate anything in her life. This is a man who spent the majority of his life from his teenagehood through his 50s out at sea, like out in the ocean, like out fishing. He's a fisherman or whatever. You learn a lot when you look at nature. You learn a lot about how to live in harmony with the world when you look at water. You spend a lot of time being fluid. It naturally soaks into you. And I think that's something that's absent from a lot of people these days. We need to understand that staying in the flow within ourselves, staying in the flow of the universe often means you don't let people on your boat that are going to sink it. You don't allow for people to make holes in your boat. You don't try to always, bring people out of the water that don't want, to either learn how to swim or they put themselves in that position. You don't want to be bringing everybody into your boat or it will sink it. You are supposed to be there for people when they come to you. And if they ask for your help, if they ask for your advice or your guidance, and they're actually going to receive it, they have a pattern in the past of receiving it and using it, then you're not enabling them. And it's good to give. Otherwise, stay in your lane. Mind your own business. Let them work it out. What's yours is yours. It is best to focus on your relationship, Manny, with your wife, and then focus on your relationship with the sister separately. Okay. And they should really be doing that too, or else that's manipulation. Okay. So there's nothing for you to do. And these are grown ass people. Okay. These are grown ass. One of the things I've been getting so sick of is watching people not know how to be grown-ups. So, whatever goes on, if people have beef, there's something within themselves that they need to work on. Maybe this one needs to work on boundary setting, and this one needs to work on, not being a jerk or whatever. Okay. Still, regardless, none of that has anything to do with you. I would also just say this. It's really important that whoever, and this is for Manny or anyone listening, it's really important that if there is a situation where someone is being disrespected, you have that person's back and you make sure that boundaries are being properly set with that individual. And if that means pulling away or spending time, apart from those people who are causing the problems, so be it. Okay. But we want to honor that. All right, we have another one coming in here from Zach. This is on Instagram. What can I do to give myself more of an edge getting a real job when so many require experience that I don't have? Well, you want to stay within the alignment of your life contract. So the first thing is to understand that you shouldn't be going after any type of work that isn't for you. So when we look at your life contract, meaning what you signed on to before you came to Earth, this will show up in your Vedic or Western astrology, in your numerology chart, or if you book a life contract reading with me. It's all identical. It's the same thing. It means that you came to Earth to do certain jobs and to work with, certain groups of people. So anytime you're doing that, the doors are going to naturally open up to you, and there will be a fluidity, a flow of prosperity there. When you're going against that, you're going to have a lot of struggle for sure. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you're in alignment with what you're actually supposed to be doing. I would also say that, when we're talking about needing experience, if it is in alignment with your life contract and that's what you're going to need to do, you're going to have to be willing to put in some time and effort, often for free. It's sort of like an internship. When I started doing this work for the public, I want to say I put in at least 4 months where I was just perfecting my craft, and taking it from something I did privately with people to like a full level of professionalism. And during that time, I never asked anybody for a penny. I handed out free little coupons, right? And it just, people flooded the gates. So I think that spending the time working on your craft and understanding that may be, if it's in alignment with, again, your life contract, that will be supported and it will lead to fruition for you, but it may be required. I would not allow for you to, quit or get defeated. Again, if it is something you're supposed to be doing, you have to keep finding ways to get in, and you have to be confident that it's where you belong, and know that people that don't belong there will eventually also fall off. So you could also look at it psychically and be sort of waiting, like a cat in the grass. You're waiting to pounce on it when it becomes available. Do a lot of follow-ups, a lot of follow-up calls, and manifest, visualize on a daily basis for at least 60 seconds that you are claiming and pulling these positions that you want toward you, that the doors are wide open and they're watching and waiting for you. Okay, so create it. Yep. Great question. All right, we're going to move on to another one. This is from a Jenny. I had to put my dog down and I feel horrific guilt over it. How do you know if you did the right thing? I'm so sorry for your loss. So I know a lot of people have been going through this lately. One of the reasons this is happening with so many people is because of eclipse season, which started a couple months ago, and we're really in it. I think even today is one of the eclipses. We're in eclipse season, and during eclipse season, we do tend to see letting go of those that have been playing both sides of the fence. They're half in the spirit world and they're half on the earth plane. And we want to be realistic that with our animals, sometimes they need a little help. We should honor humans in the same way that we honor our pets, in allowing them to go instead of staying stuck here and suffering. Okay, so it really is a beautiful thing that they have that option. And we want to really remember, you're going to have to tell yourself on a daily basis for a while that you did the right thing, you did the loving thing. I think that also when animals come through from the other side and they want to give final goodbye, or they want to give a heads up that they made it, okay, into the higher dimensions, into the light, into heaven. They want to let their owners know, their family, right? Their mom, their dad. They want to let them know that they're still with them and that they're in a good place. Often the first thing these pets say to me is thank you. Tell her thank you for doing this for me, because they come to you and they let you know through telepathy, energetically, right? Spiritually, they let you know when they're ready to go. And it's our denial of that makes it so difficult because again, we have a totally different system for human beings. That is a sin. You're going to hell for that. You know, that's criminal. You can't have assisted suicide. You can't commit suicide. You can't let go. You have to stay here till the bitter end because they make a lot of money off of it. Okay. It's a for-profit medical system. That's why. So you have to abandon your previous programming and really embrace the reality and the beauty of the fact that this animal was counting on you their entire life to take care of them. And they're counting on you in the same way when it's time for them to cross. And you did that. Okay, so they're more grateful than you know. But yeah, take care of yourself and remind yourself every day that you did the right thing. Okay, the guilt in time will go away, but it's deeply programmed into us. And a pet reading can help. You can book a pet reading with me at any time and I can channel your pet, you know, and we'll talk about it. They'll talk about it if you need that. Expect visits in your dreams also. And I want to say my ears ringing like crazy. You know, whether it's the ear ringing, the tinnitus, which is mediumship, it's them coming through in a dream to let you know that they're okay. It's usually a brief encounter. Maybe you just see them sort of cross through the room, whatever. I mean, that is a sign and a validation that they're, you know, saying thank you to you and letting you know they love you and they're still around. We're going to move on to another one. This is from Catherine Jablonski-Sabatz. She says, hi, any advice on the relationship with my daughter and my son-in-law? Well, I would need more information. Where's the rest of this? We're not doing psychic mediumship readings, so I don't know if that's like somebody else trying to ask a psychic mediumship. Okay, we're going to move on to another one. Carol, I think I want to have another baby, but I'm worried it will ruin my career. What do you do to not regret it? To not regret it? So it sounds like you're afraid of regretting that you ruined your career by having a baby. You're afraid of regretting that you didn't have a baby and maybe you wanted another one and then, you know, it's too late. A lot of people deal with this. I think that the really important thing to do here is to be realistic about the kid contract. So I call it the kid contract. I had one, you had one, we all have one. Before we come to Earth, we pick our parents and then we decide whether we're going to come through as like a twin, we're going to come through as an individual, what gender, and, you know, we could switch any of that up at any time. We decide when we're willing to come in, and often a child will start coming in and then back out. You know, there's a lot to this that we have no say in whatsoever. It is up to the kid contract. So what you want to do is know how many kids you have on the other side that have signed on to you. This can also help you to figure out whether it's like your biological clock ticking and it's just sort of this like biological desire, you know, or you do actually have a child in spirit who is planning on coming in and wants to, and maybe you should take a closer look at that. Okay. So I think once you know about the kid contract, who's over there waiting for you, and you have a better understanding about also how many, because sometimes you can have 3 kids waiting to come through, you know, and you're 42 and you barely have interest in doing this at all. Well, maybe you're willing to say yes to one more, but not all 3. You know, we have to be realistic about these things, which means sort of the rest of your life, you could be haunted knowing you had children that you didn't bring through. So be it. You know, you have to pick and choose your battles. Life is short. There's a lot to do. You have to eat. Okay. You can't just keep bringing them through. They will find a way. If you choose not to do this, that child will find a way to you as a grandchild, through your other kids, as a niece or a nephew, as one of your friends' kids, as someone later on in life you end up mentoring over. They will find a way to you. So you're not obligated to do it. I think that it's important to look at your life contract and to know what exactly you're supposed to be doing in regards to bringing children through for your highest and best good, and what is going on with your career, what is going on with your life's work. Okay, when you have a lot to accomplish and you have a work contract, meaning the majority of what you came to Earth to do is not relationships and parenting and family, it's work. you're going to feel pulled when something like this comes up, because you know the level of obligation that comes with bringing in a child is probably going to ruin your work prospects. And that's true. So you just really need to get comfortable in the discomfort in a situation like this and say, honestly, okay, this is what I need to build in my career, and the baby does not fit in with that. So I'm going to have to tell these kids, sorry, Charlie, but not in this lifetime. Okay. And that's okay. If it bothers you for a while, keep communicating with them in spirit, you know, and they'll find their way to you. But you need to pick and choose what is going to be for your highest and best good, and going to help you to feel the most fulfilled. And you're going to have to release societal programming, because remember, as a woman, you were told you have no value if you're not popping out kids. If you're not creating little people to feed the capitalistic machine and the patriarchy, and kids make you poor and kids destroy your career, typically, that's statistically a fact. Okay, for women, not for men, but for women. You know, that if you're not doing that and sacrificing and giving into that, then you're not a good woman. So don't forget that you've been programmed to believe you're obligated to do this. You're not. All right. So start there in the deprogramming and see what you really want. All right, we're going to move on to another one from Catherine. This is, I don't know how to reword it. He's the problem and I have bent over backward. Okay, so the original question was, okay, I don't know how to move forward to get us all together again. Here we go again. Not your business, not your circus, not your monkeys, not your lane. Stay in your lane. When you are talking about another human being and their relationship to so-and-so, and how this isn't going well, and how it's affecting the group, it's not your problem. It's not your business. Okay, the real issue here is that you need to look at what this is showing you. Okay, these situations in life are simply an opportunity for you to see where you don't have proper boundaries, where you're coming from a place of ego, which is fear, manipulation, and control, instead of a high vibration of faith and love and truth. Okay, it is nothing more than an opportunity for you to examine where you have lost all sense of detachment from other human beings, and you've become embedded, codependent, overreaching with people. Okay, and you can be coming from a loving place where you want everyone to get along and you want everybody to be happy and to be healthy, but you're not here to create that. That's their job. And if they don't know how to do that for themselves, the only thing you can do is set an example by living it yourself. You can't give them the tools. You can't talk to them about it. You can't force and manipulate the situations. You can be a living example of how to get it done. And they have examples of that and tools all around them in the world. Okay, you've got YouTube, you've got therapists, you've got people's endless advice, of bottomless, right, amount of endless advice. If they are choosing wrong, then it is their karma. If they are suffering the consequences of their dysfunctional relationship, let them. That's what's going to be required in order for them to realize this isn't working and I don't like this and I want to get away from it. Okay. The last thing you're supposed to do is to get sucked in to that. It's almost like an undercurrent, you know, and you'll drown in those waters and they're not even yours to be in. Okay. So focus on you and create space and distance there from it. All right, we are going to move on to another one from Maisha. I feel like I overgive to the point of therapizing my therapist. How do I overcome this? I left when I saw that happening. When my therapist was crying when I talked, when my therapist was like at a loss or giving bad advice or like just not, like I couldn't. It always ended up this way. I think that some of us first of all, okay, the psychiatric field is limited. Okay, the medical field is limited. Therapists, psychology, it's all limited. It's all based on white Christian males. Okay, so it's limited. That's a given. At some point, the experiences that you have had in your life have evolved you beyond that very small world. And what you're doing is alchemy. You're transmuting. You're not putting it in the DSM-5 or putting a pill on it or saying, no, you need to be more like a white man. You know what I mean? This is what's normal. Fit into this. You're not doing any of that. You're doing the real work on a universal level. So when you get around these people, even if they're well-intentioned and they've got a degree and they're charging you the $200, you're paying it, you're going to be their therapist. It's not fair. We feel cheated, you know, but I mean, how many times you can go around and around and around, you know? I want to say this happened with probably 4 or 5 of the people I talked to. I mean, I eventually just stopped dealing with anybody because I even felt in the chair like I was afraid to say things that I was really going through, or like things from my past that I needed to talk about and release. I felt bad doing it because I knew they were going to be upset for God knows how many days, and they were going to start crying in front of me. You know, I mean, at what point do you just go, okay, I think I'm good on my own, you know? Oh my God. Talk to other light workers, talk to other healers, stick with other old souls, know that it's limited, okay? And that you seriously, they need to be like reimbursing you, okay? Or they need to be paying you to be there. Clearly that's not your therapist anymore. Now, there are some good therapists who, you know how to kind of, maybe what you're looking for is to get hit like a freight train a little bit, you know, or they can help you deal with trauma. You know, they can get a little deeper. I mean, they are out there, but you got to find the right one, and it's tricky. Good luck with that. Tristan says, I have a friend whose therapist cried when he talked about his abuse from his mother. I also stopped seeing my therapist after I felt like I was teaching him more than he was teaching me. Yes. And, you know, I don't think we talk about this enough. Because we all want a therapist who has compassion and is an empathic human being. We all want a humanitarian, you know, not some detached weirdo who just wants your paycheck. You know what I mean? But when they cry, it does, in one way, it may help you connect with them and feel like, wow, I have a really great therapist. I have a feeling emotional, you know, person here. But in all honesty, when they lose it like that on a regular basis, you're just like, you know, I'm being squelched in here. I can't be honest and raw because the only thing you need is more shit added onto the pile that is your life and your trauma. You know what I mean? You don't want to be hurting anyone else. That's why you paid to be in there, so that you're not dumping it on other people and hurting like family and friends and upsetting everyone. You know, I mean, that's 90% of the point. And it just doesn't work that way. I mean, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. All right. Do we have any other questions coming in? I just want to thank, well, Tristan pulls up another question here. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Just a reminder, this is my Dear Ivy show. This is a free advice show. You can ask about anything under the sun. It's not a psychic mediumship reading. If you need to book that with me, you can go onto my website, IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. Okay, and we are at time. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much. Yes, Catherine, you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. And thank you for tuning in, because I think this is my favorite show, really. And, you know, this one's super fun for me to be able to do. Like I said, I was reading Dear Abby when I was a little kid, and I always wanted to do this. I think this is the 3rd episode of Dear Ivy we've done. So give me your feedback. Let me know if you want to see it continue. I'm assuming so, based on this response. Okay, wonderful. I do want to announce again before we go that I will be back. I think I'm back before that for one of my midweek, you know, paid psychic mediumship shows. However, October 27th, we have a Roots Revival church service. I missed doing church in September because this is my peak season of my in season, and I've been incredibly, insanely busy, and it wasn't healthy for me to book one more thing. However, I did not want to pass this up in October and miss 2 months in a row. So October 27th, 9 p.m. out here on all these platforms, Roots Revival Interfaith is doing a church service, and we're going to be talking about grieving the living. Okay, the taboo situations and lack of conversation and release and sharing that we have surrounding the intense, deep, seemingly never-ending grief that we have over loved ones who are still alive. It is so hard to deal with. Okay, so I hope to see you guys for that. And in the meantime, go onto my website and check out all the upcoming events. I'm everywhere in a lot of cemeteries, spooky situations, fun times and festivals happening right now. So I'll see you guys there. Tristan did a great job. Let's give him a hand. All right, Tristan, our new producer, great job. All right, have a great night, everyone.